What's going on, 49er faith, 49er fan, 49er gang? This is your boy Niner Gang Podcast back in the building. So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. That being said, let's get right on into it, man. It took me a couple of days to digest this L we took. Wanted to let the rest of the games play out for the playoffs and see what happened. And the worst thing that could have possibly happened happened. And the reason that I state that is because we possibly could have one of our division rivals celebrating on our field as Super Bowl champs. See, with division rivalries, you know each other. So a season split with a division rivalry or a division rival, should I say, doesn't, it's not uncommon. You know that because that team knows you, you know them, they know what you're going to do. They understand how to beat you. You understand how to beat them. These are very common occurrences. What's going on there? These are very common occurrences in football, especially when you know that there are more people that know what you're doing rather than don't. But if there's one thing that division rivals do, it's talk trash to each other. If you let the Rams or the Seahawks win the Super Bowl in Santa Clara, they're going to talk the most crap over the next few years with good reason, but they're going to do it consistently. When they come in and play us later in the year, because we're already in 2026, so that season is going to start, mid-July, early August. So for these next couple months, we got to sit back and watch, possibly, unless the AFC wins it. You know what I'm saying? And right now it's going to be the Patriots and the Broncos. And unfortunately, Bo Nix broke his ankle, second to last play of the game. So it's going to be, oddly enough, it's kind of weird. It's two Patriot quarterbacks going against each other, one former, one current. And it's going to be Jarrett Stidham versus Drake May. And to be honest with you, I see the Patriots winning this easily. You don't supplant the regular starter and everything that goes with him and put in Jarrett Stidham of all people and think this dude's about to win you an AFC championship game and pull a Nick Foles and go to the Super Bowl. I doubt that highly. I'm sorry. The Broncos have a great defense. I know that their defense is going to say, hey, now it's on us. Let's turn it up. Let's do this. Let's do that. They're probably going to run the ball more than they throw the ball. These are all things that are coming into play, but it's going to suck royally if you're in that situation. So for the 49ers, you don't want the Seahawks celebrating on your field, nor you definitely don't want the Rams celebrating on your field of all people. And the biggest thing is because of the disrespect that's going to happen. Well, no, Hostetler. I ain't heard that name forever. Who was he with? Was he with the Raiders? I don't remember. But either way, you never want your immediate in-division rival celebrating on your field for no reason. And they already did that to us. The Hawks did when they won that number one seed. And I don't want to give them an opportunity to do it again. And, Giants. You got it. Got you. Sorry, the only Giants Super Bowls that I remember are the ones with Eli. And any other time, they just weren't contending enough for me to remember that. Or I probably just ain't dug into the archives deep enough. I know some old football, but I didn't remember Hostetler was backup from one. So, I mean, with those points, it can be done. But I'm sorry, I just don't see Jarrett Stidham beating the Patriots in that defense. Like they've okay, gotcha. There you go. Yep, lost to him in an NFC championship game. Okay, now it's coming back to me. So for me personally, man, I'll say this. It's annoying that we got the shit beat out of us, the brakes beat off of us, whatever, you know, saying you want to use or analogy or, metaphor. We lost and we lost horribly. And it started on the first play of the game. That return for a touchdown by Rashid Shaheed set the tone for the game, and we never got going. Our defense didn't know what they were doing. Our offense just disappeared. We had Eddie Pinero out there using soccer slides trying to take down Rashid Shaheed because he didn't want to get himself injured. Then we wouldn't have had no damn kicker. We'd have had to go for 2 points, even if we would have scored, which we didn't. And we needed Eddie because he was the only person on our team that gave us any damn points. Um, I know I was quoted as saying Kyle Shanahan, usually does not go out of the first round. Um, usually if he makes playoffs, he goes all the way through. Um, at least to the NFC Championship game at a bare minimum. So this is Kyle's first time he's been knocked out of the playoffs before the NFC Championship game. And that's an awesome track record. You know what I mean? From when you get into the playoffs, you basically say, hey, I don't play around, I do things. So for me personally, I just have to say that this game hurt more because of the way we lost. Like, we didn't fight. We didn't try. We did nothing. The receivers couldn't create separation to save their lives. They blanketed the field to a point where there were no options to throw. There were some times, though, where I saw Brock Purdy had all damn day. And I mean, when you have more than 4 seconds in the pocket, somebody has to break over and receive. DBs get lazy after that time period. Usually at about 3 to 4 seconds, they don't feel like they need to cover anymore because if the ball hasn't come out and they don't see somebody else with it, then they're safely assuming that their line or whoever they sent after the quarterback in general has gotten home. And they usually will get a little lax. The Seahawks they didn't think that way. They said, nope, we're going to cover these guys till we can't cover them anymore. And we had some issues in the game. You saw Kyle Shanahan screaming at Renardo Green and Green listening, but then walking away. And then, not necessarily saying he wanted to go back in the game. And we had to put Darrell Luter Jr. in there. And the minute we put Luter Jr. in there, who gets beat in the back of the end zone? Darrell Luter Jr. So it's saying that we've got a lot of issues that we got to address. Number one thing is we don't have any speed. Hey, what's going on, Sam? We don't have any speed in our defensive backfield. No one there is fast. No one can keep up with that top tier speedy receiver. We just don't. Special teams up to this point had been playing fairly well. And though we allowed that one, kick return for a TD, we didn't allow anything else in special teams. We allowed them to kind of get somewhere, but they didn't wind up breaking anymore. Yeah, I get it. Seahawks fans can come in and say what they want, man. They have all the opportunity in the world to come in and trash us if they feel like it. Nothing I can do about it. We got the brakes beat off of us. And for me, like I said, what hurt the most is we didn't have any fight. We didn't have any grit. There was nothing we could do. And I know that some of the things that I say are a little controversial and a lot of people don't care for my opinion, and I understand that. But this is what I will say. The hard part about this is there's one common denominator, that's been there throughout these 9 years. And, yeah. Well, no, this is what I'll tell you, Courtney. And this is where I'll go with that. And obviously, I don't know. I'm safely assuming you're a Seahawks fan or you just laughing at the Niners' pain, whichever the case may be. But the reason that I say we don't need another back to go with CMC is because it's a waste of time. So 49ers, yes, that definitely, yeah, you are correct. They did have their number. And they had their number those last two games that we played them. Mike McDonald, shout out to him, man. He belt ass on Kyle Shanahan twice. And I know that we only lost the last game in the season by 10 points, but it was a defensive battle that held us to 3. And this game, we only got to 6. So what are we going to play him again? He only get to 9? Like, his defense was so solid and so sound, and it worked so well. Now, I know they have a defensive coordinator, but I believe he is the actual DC. That's Kyle Shanahan. We have an offensive coordinator, but Kyle's the actual OC. He's the one calling the plays. And I believe that McDonald for the Seahawks is the one calling the plays. Thank you. I appreciate that. But what I would say is the reason you don't go get another running back to go with CMC is because obviously it doesn't make a difference, and it's a waste of time and money because you don't use them. They brought Brian Robinson in and barely used him. It was literally a waste. Like they have this thing with Christian McCaffrey where he tells them what he wants to do. Christian McCaffrey doesn't want to come off the field. He don't come off the field. Now, what will happen is you will have a ton of Niner fans that will tell you straight up, hey, he's so good. He's so dynamic. He can do this. He can do that. He has that leeway. I am sorry. At the end of the day, I am not about to allow you as a player to tell me as a coach what you're going to do. You're going to listen to me. I run shit. That's like going to work and telling your boss, I don't feel like getting back on the phones. I'll get on when I feel like it. You can't do that. You get fired. Or at a bare minimum, your boss would pull you into a room and say, hey, man, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what you got going on. I don't know what's happening at home. I don't know what's happening in your personal life. Whatever it is, leave that outside and go out there and do your job. That's what you're supposed to do. I can't just take overtime if I feel like it. It has to be offered. So for me, when it comes to Christian McCaffrey, do I understand how good he is and the dynamics of him in the run game and how much of a viable threat he is if he's out there, even just as decoy, all these things. All these things are true. But at the end of the day, you're the head coach. You don't let players run you. You run players. And I think this is a two-person situation because it's him and it's Bobby Turner. And that's my main issue. Because technically speaking, your position coaches are responsible for rotating the players and making sure they stay fresh. Christian McCaffrey played his heart out this year, but they overused him. Let me just give you, I'm just going to, before I even get into the game, let me give you CMC's numbers. And I agree, man, we did have Mason and traded him. Let me just give you CMC's numbers on the year. And this will tell you exactly why I feel the way that I feel. I'm just pulling it up right now. Let this thing go. There we go. And then I'll share my screen so you can see it and see that I am not telling you a lie. This is just literal facts. So we have Christian McCaffrey here. Oh, let me take it out of postseason. Let me just go to regular season. Okay. Christian McCaffrey carried the ball 311 times. He was our leading receiver with 102 catches. Christian McCaffrey on the year almost had 2,000 yards from scrimmage. So you have to think that is 413 times this man touched the rock. Do you understand how insane that is for one person? And I'm going to stop sharing the screen for just a second. and then I'll bring it back up because we got to look at the stats and the numbers for the game. 413 touches in a single season by one player is astronomical. When you run the ball for over 300 carries, that's insane. That is enough of a workload on you as a running back just in general. And then you go out there and catch 102 passes. Like, this is insane. And we appreciate Christian for it. We love him for it. But you made that man run the ball 311 times. And you got Brian Robinson before the season. Now, mind you, before you got Brian Robinson, you had Isaac Guerrero. You drafted Jordan James. Neither one of those dudes saw the field. And they were both bumped down the line by the addition of Brian Robinson Jr. Brian Robinson Jr. ran the ball. This is all year long. Christian McCaffrey with 311 carries. Brian Robinson Jr. had 92. Somebody explain to me where that makes sense. 311, 92. The man tripled your output in carries. Why go and get another running back to say, I'm going to pair this guy with this guy, but I'm never going to use him? It's so lopsided that you literally allowed McCaffrey to almost triple his output. Sorry, he doubled it. He didn't triple it. He doubled it almost. You wouldn't allow that man to tote the rock more because Christian doesn't want to come out, because McCaffrey said so. Now, this isn't a knock on Christian McCaffrey. I love the guy. I love what he does. He is a fantastic football player. You know what I'm saying? Great for us when he's on the field, because when he's on the field, we win more games than we do when he's off the field. But here's the thing, and this is exactly where I was going with this. CMC is going to be overworked and overused. The man is, I think CMC is young. I'm pretty sure he's in his early 30s. Let me see here. Let me see. Okay, so there we go. Christian McCaffrey ain't even 30 yet. He is 29 years old. And Christian McCaffrey will be 30 on June 7th. So here's the biggest problem with that. Christian McCaffrey turning 30. When you let me tell you something, because I'm 44 going on 45. Let me explain something to you. Your years in life and the way that your body moves and shifts and the things that you do, no matter how well you take care of it, changes. You are not going to be able to do the same things you did in your 20s and your 40s. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I don't care how good a shape you're in. You're not going to be as fast. You're not going to be as quick. You're not going to be as agile. And you probably won't be, as mentally sharp. As you get older, unfortunately, things deteriorate. And I'm not saying this is the case for everyone, but for a good majority of normal human beings, Father Time's undefeated. And typically at 30 is when running backs start to slow down. Things don't look the same. Now, mind you, in 2024, Christian McCaffrey didn't play. Why? He went like everybody else and got on that damn Madden cover and wound up having two horrible Achilles. Couldn't play the whole year, barely played when he did, and, came back this year and looked fantastic. But to give that man 400 touches is insanity. You can't do that. You're overworking him, and you're allowing him to tell you he can carry the load. You need to be able to save him from himself. And when I say that, that means, hey, we have another viable back here. We're going to do a two-back system like we did when you first got here. Kyle got here. He started out. There was, I believe, Matt Breida and it was supposed to be Matt Breida and Jared McKinnon, but old tired legs. McKinnon couldn't do shit until the COVID year, and that's the only time he ever showed the fuck up. Then had the nerve to get out there and be a you know what about it. But I'm not gonna go on that rant or that tirade because believe me, talk all day about how I can't stand him for the way that he acted after we lined his pockets on him years. But what I'm saying is, you literally had Jordan Mason there. You traded him for a draft pick, and then you had Isaac Garendo, but you don't want to give him a shot. You didn't like what he was seeing. When Garendo is the fastest back we have on our team, 4.3 speed, while CMC has broken down to probably about 4.6. I'm just saying, like, the way that things get coached and done don't make sense. You know what I mean? And I mean, I know the defense was bad, but yeah, I'm sorry. And let me tell you this right now. And I'm gonna leave this up here, Bob, because for me, it's not about Kyle technically really being a choke artist. It's just the fact that, bro, it's been 9 years and we don't have anything to show for it. You know, we have to show for it. And I'll say this because I see this a lot. So what we have to show for it is several NFC championship appearances. This playoff run right here and 2 Super Bowl losses. That's what we had to show for it. Now, mind you, lots of head coaches have been let go this year. Tons and tons of head coaches have been let go. I think we had about 7 or 8, including who was just fired, Sean McDermott, but rightfully so. Sorry, man had been there 9 years. You ain't even got to a Super Bowl. Every time you get to the AFC Championship game, it's against Patrick Mahomes and he kicks your ass. So it is what it is. But what I'm saying is you cannot have this guy here for 9 years and you don't get that Super Bowl ring. You don't make it. You don't complete the job. See, so I go in Twitter spaces because I like to troll people. Everybody knows, you know, on Twitter, I am not a Kyle Shanahan fan. And I got tired of him after he lost 2 Super Bowls. I'm sorry. I really did. I'd been tired of him before, but there were just certain things that I saw about Kyle that I didn't care for. And to be honest with you, during Kyle Shanahan's tenure as the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, there are several things you could look to as it pertains to reasons why this man could be fired. Because a lot of other coaches would have been fired in these certain circumstances. Coaches get let go after 1 year sometimes. They don't even get this type of time to do something. One thing I do want to say as a side note, I don't think the Yorks are invested in the Niners. Because if they were, they would be more attentive. I ain't seen Jed York at all. I ain't heard from Jed York. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing. But typically your owner would see this happening and figure out something. The only thing Jed York has done in his tenure while Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have been here is at some point he closed up the water. He said, nope, I'm not spending no more damn money. Because every time I spend money, we don't do anything with it. And I'm tired. And I'm done. So you're going to go in the draft. You're going to go in free agency. You're going to do whatever you need to do. But you're going to find a way to make this team work with the money you got. I'm tired of giving you money. And I'm not getting a Super Bowl win out of it. I gave you a la carte for years and years and years. And every time, I didn't get shit out of it. Now, mind you, for Kyle Shanahan's work this year, should he be coach of the year? I would think so. You took a ragtag group of dudes and instilled values in them and told them, hey, man, we're going to go out here and try to win these games. You didn't have your starting quarterback. You had your backup playing for you. You believed that Mac Jones went 6-3, if I'm not mistaken. Like, all these things come into play. But this is the first year you've done that. And I think people forget that part. See, I look at Kyle Shanahan as a whole and not just in the moment. And that's just me. And I honestly, I'll say this, and I can, because no matter how much people want to fight it, 49er fans have become complacent. They have. The hunger for greatness, the drive to want to win a Super Bowl is no longer there. They're just comfortable with being contenders. Because the same excuse that will come for Kyle Shanahan will be, well, you got to get in there to be able to have a chance. And he gives us a chance every year. No, not every year. And I can emphatically state it's not every year. 2017, we ain't going nowhere. 2018, we ain't going nowhere. 2019, we went to the Super Bowl. 2020, we ain't go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? 2021, we come back, I believe. That was the only time in Kyle Shanahan's career where he went to the playoffs 2 straight years. Because other than that, it's been up and down, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I'm saying? So let me take a look at it really quick. I'll take a look at his record as a head coach. Kyle currently is 91-72. That is his head coaching thing. Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. Let's just be competitive. And everybody's okay with that. Now, to people's point when they say you got to be competitive to get in the dance, while we understand that, there are coaches that have done more in less time than Kyle has. Sean McVay has won a Super Bowl in less time. Nick Sirianni has won a Super Bowl in less time. I believe Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with the Eagles in a very short span of time. So we've given Kyle 9 years. 9. And we've got some playoff wins and whatnot and things of that nature, but we don't have a Super Bowl ring. And we've been there twice up against the same guy. And I'll say this, the craziest thing is when you look at it, for Josh Allen, this has to be heartbreaking to lose, especially like the way they did. The reason being is because this was the one year you didn't have Lamar, Joe, or Patrick in your way, and you failed. He couldn't get it done. And I know it's not all on Josh Allen. I know it's a team sport. But at the end of the day, when you look at the narratives, when you look at what the media will talk about, they are going to start questioning whether Josh Allen has that it factor where he can get the job done. Now, everybody's going to say, well, he doesn't have any receivers. That's not my problem. That's on the Buffalo Bills. They should have given them receivers. You know what I'm saying? You should have made a trade. Hell, at a bare minimum, you know A.J. Brown was disgruntled all damn year. You could have brought him over. You could have said, look, man, forget that first-round pick. A.J., come on over here, man. We got a guy with a cannon for an arm. Guaranteed you'll get the ball. So, for me, looking at everything as a whole, I'm going to give you Kyle Shanahan's his years and how shit worked because I get tired of people saying every year, and attaching that to his name because that's not how it works. So this is Kyle Shanahan, and this is his record, okay? Kyle Shanahan went through 3 different teams as their offensive coordinator. He started out with Houston, went to Washington with his dad, and then he went to Cleveland, and then, 4. Then he went to Cleveland, then he went to Atlanta. Now, mind you, Kyle Shanahan comes here in 2017 all the way up to 2025 right now. Kyle Shanahan has been to the NFC Championship game 4 times. He's won it twice. Both years he went to the Super Bowl, he lost. So Kyle Shanahan starts out with a 6-10 record, a 4-12 record. You go 13-3 and go to the Super Bowl. The next year you come back, you go 6-10. The next year, you go 10-7, but you do not make the playoffs. Or sorry, I apologize. You go 10-7, and did they go to the playoffs that year? Yes, they did. So you go to the NFC Championship game, 2022, 13-4. So out of all 9 years, Kyle Shanahan has had 3 years of consistency, from 21 to 23. That's basically it. That was 3 years of consistency. So when people keep saying that Kyle Shanahan gives you a chance every year, I need you to stop. Because he had a 3-year run from 2021 to 2023 where he had consistency. Other than that, it's been up and down. So you have to think about it. First 2 years, nothing. Next year, Super Bowl. next year, in 2020, you get nothing. You don't even make the playoffs. And then 3 years straight, you go at least to the NFC Championship game. Then 2024 comes, you go 6-11. 2025 comes, you wind up going 12-5. So for me personally, I'm not that big of a fan because you only had 3 years of consistency out of the 9 years. The other 6 years, up and down. You're good one year, you're bad another year. So technically, he was good the year before, and he was bad the year before. He was good this year. So this year coming, we should be shit. Unless this is another moment where Kyle is going, okay, I'm going to make a 3-year run of more consistency. But here's the issue. It's the reason I state complacency is because people don't get what the word complacent means. It means you're okay with where you are and you don't want to move. It's like working a job and never asking for a raise. You're just cool with the money that you get. You're walking around going, man, I wish I had more money. But you either don't work for the raise or you don't even ask for it. You could be that superstar. And all you really have to do, honestly, is ask for it. Because businesses out there will sometimes hold money. It's not uncommon. But this one, he says, completely honest, I think Shanahan did a very good job this year with the amount of injuries. Yes, he did. That's why I said coach of the year, guaranteed. But we are going into the 10th year of Kyle Shanahan. This is the last year of his contract. I've not seen an extension. And to be honest with you, I hope I don't. Now, I know Niner fans are just going to be the same way they're going to be. You know, they're going to rake me over the coals and tell me I don't know ball and I'm stupid. And I got one guy on Twitter who consistently calls me a casual because I don't share their views of Kyle Shanahan. I'm not exalting him as some god, that the 49ers need. And I'm not okay with the consistency of Kyle Shanahan. I've always said this, and I will continue to say this as emphatically as I can state it. Excuse the fuck out of me for wanting a goddamn Super Bowl for my fucking team. I would think the hunger and the drive and the want for a Super Bowl would be instilled in every single Niner fan. I would think it's instilled in every fan of football in general. But when you have 9 years and you do not have a Lombardi to show for it, that's an issue. I'm sorry. It really is. And I get everybody's going to say football is hard. Winning a championship is hard. This, that, and the third. If it's that hard, then why do we have a coach who everybody swears is Jesus walking on water, but he can't get the job done? If Kyle is as great as everyone gives him and as strong and he's an offensive genius and Kyle will scheme you up and all this, why couldn't he scheme up anything against Seahawks for 2 games straight? Why did Mike McDonald have his number? See, because I look at it from a realistic standpoint of it's an offensive coordinator versus a defensive coordinator. It is not offensive coordinator versus offensive coordinator because you don't scheme against another offense, you scheme against another defense. McDonald is the head coach and the DC. You're scheming against his defense. McDonald had belt to ass 2 games straight. And he knows how to beat you. Our run defense is terrible. You know what I'm saying? And that's just it. And I'm sorry, it part of it is roster construction. I can agree with you on that. Roster construction is hard, and they don't put the right guys in the right place. They do make a lot of bad choices. Like our draft picks, for the most part, just don't work out. And I understand the draft is a crapshoot. You may get a player in the 6th round that's better than the person you got in the 1st round. All these things are true. What's going on, Ronnie? But me personally, I really don't care. Courtney says, if you say you don't want Kyle Shanahan as your head coach, you have to have a backup coach in mind. It's better. See, and this right here, I will tell you, is the exact same sentiment of every 49er fan. But what I say to this is a regime change can actually change a lot of things. Coaching changes can change a lot of things. It doesn't always have to be somebody overly spectacular. And I am not comfortable sitting here another 9 years waiting for Kyle to get the job done and he doesn't get it done. And all I got at the end was some playoff appearances and a couple Super Bowl appearances where we took L's. The 49ers started their run of Super Bowls going 5-0. We are now 0-3. Like, you have to think about that. All I saw was greatness for all these years. And then we took a big break until Jim Harbaugh showed up and took us to a Super Bowl. And what did we do? Unfortunately, we took that L because Jim Harbaugh did the same stupid thing that Pete Carroll did. He ain't run the ball. If I have Frank Gore and I'm on the 2 or the 1, I am running that rock. Ain't no way in hell I'm throwing the ball. For what? You know what I'm saying? Now, maybe I'll run the rock a couple of times, get them into the fact that I'm going to run, and then I'm going to throw the ball because I'm catching them off guard. But I'm not just going to throw the ball just openly just because that's just what I want to do. It doesn't work like that. So while there isn't another head coach out there currently better than Kyle Shanahan, as far as people that are openly available, a regime change can change the way that things work. Now, of course, there's always going to be the ploy for, well, he just got his quarterback and the injuries and this and that. We've had other years where we've been injured. We've had other years where we've been trash. So him doing this year, fantastic. Great. You finally figured it out. You cracked the code. But what do we have to show for it? I'm sorry. At the end of the day, I can't sit here and consistently just be okay with just being contenders. That at some point it's got to run out. And this is the number one thing that I will say, because I'm gonna get into the game, because I've been sitting here talking about this for too long. At the end of the day, Andy Reid's time in Philly was up. Why? They got tired of it. Jeffrey Lurie said, look, man, I like that you contend every year. It's nice. But the only Super Bowl you got to, you lost. And this contending shit is just, it's old, it's outdated. I'm done. I need to move forward. Now, mind you, it took them a couple of years, but they eventually found Doug Peterson and won that damn Super Bowl. But it takes regime change and time for players to understand what's going on. And like I said, all these players that we have are aging. I love Fred Warner, best linebacker in football. He's getting older. Christian McCaffrey's now in his 30s. He'll be 30 this year. So that means his running back clock is going to start to tick. How much more money are you going to give this guy? We lucked out and Trent Williams said he's coming back next year. But now you have to draft a left tackle of the future because you don't know how long Trent Williams is going to last. And as he gets older, things are going to not be as great as they were. He will move a little bit slower. And unless the man needs money, which I don't really think he does because he's been broken off several times. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's different things that come along with it. You know what I'm saying? It shows me that you have other options out there, but you just don't know where they're going to go. Now, one thing you can say, I mean, people would throw out possibly Mike Tomlin. I like Mike Tomlin, but I wouldn't want him here in San Francisco. I don't know how that would work, because the main focal point that we have to think about for next year is we could lose our offensive and defensive coordinators and be back at square fucking one. Now, losing our offensive coordinator really doesn't mean much because Kyle calls plays. He can draw the shit up on his own. We don't need that. But if we lose Robert Saleh again, the only option that we have is to promote Gus Bradley to defensive coordinator. You have to, because he's the one who knows the system. But you cannot, I repeat, you cannot pull another stupid idea and go, oh, I'm going to go ahead and get Nick Sorensen again. Sorensen has been reduced to a special teams coach because the job he did as a defensive coordinator was so garbage with us that they won't give him a DC job. And that's the thing. Sometimes Kyle help out the homie. But let's get to this game, man. You know what I'm saying? It's really hard, man. And I feel you, Matt. I feel you. Hey, man. These are the games that you can't do this stuff. You can't choke. Um, oh, you're talking about Clay? Yeah, Clay. Clay's a good offensive coordinator. And here's the thing: as Kyle Shanahan, what you could do, and this is only if this happens. If Mike McDaniels don't get another job, you better be begging him to come home. You know why? Though McDaniels is ridiculously long-winded in his explanations of things, you still like him because he balances you out. I would say if McDaniels doesn't get a head coaching job, you beg him to come back as your offensive coordinator. You promote Gus Bradley as your defensive coordinator, and you can continue to try. I would not give – I'm sorry, for me personally, I know that this roster is going to have a lot of overhaul. We need defensive backs. We need to be able to keep people healthy. We need wide receivers like no other. JJ is a free agent, people. The only people we literally are going to roll in the next season with is Ricky Pearsall and I believe Jordan Watkins. And I'm sorry, that ain't going to cut it. So it's very frustrating to know that our future is not bright. It's dim. It's very dim. But, I mean, hey, look, man. I'm just saying, bro. These are things that I've said this stuff for years, but I'm the crazy one. I'm the one that's stupid. I don't know ball. I'm a casual. I'm all these things. But when I say this stuff, people don't want to listen, you know. But once again, 49er fans have become complacent. They are okay with just competing. They don't want the Super Bowl. They don't have that hunger, that drive, or anything. We don't need a wide receiver number 2. We need a wide receiver number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We don't have a number 1 receiver. And I definitely ain't looking at Ricky Pearsall as no damn one. I'm sorry. First year, I get it. You got shot. You can't do nothing. You come in, at the end of the season, you look all right. Next year, you just injured all year. You know what I'm saying? Your PCL is busted. And, you can barely play. I'm sorry. Ricky Pearsall, I'm sorry. Right now, up to this point, it's just pure disappointment. Pure disappointment. Nothing. You got nothing out of him. And he's your first-round pick. And this is the biggest issue. I know that first-round picks are hit or miss, but we've missed more than we've hit. We literally had 2 first-round picks that hit. And I don't count BA because BA just started becoming BA. And his last year, he literally just disappeared on us, didn't even want to play. There are a litany of reasons that he's – Yo, you didn't do him like that. Why you – He did him like that. Look, for y'all young bloods out there, go do your research. John B is a phenomenal R&B artist. You know what I'm saying? He's had some really good songs. He did a cut with Tupac. He had one joint that all of us know. But just go do your research on John B. He's actually a really good artist. And yes, a young John B and a Ricky Pearsall do look the same, bro. No, don't do it like that. Don't give him the Rob Van Winkle, bro. Don't give him the Rob Van Winkle, man. Don't give him the Vanilla Ice, bro. I can't. But see that the people in my chat know already. They obviously, we got some grown folk in here because they know who John B is. But this game, man, it was just sheer insanity. It was very ugly, bro. And I can say that with all seriousness. It just did not pan out, man, in any way that we wanted to because everything failed. And the whole initial point was to get Sam Darnold to beat us. But to do that, we needed our defense to stop the run, which we are not necessarily good at. And we weren't good at the last time we played the Seahawks. And they did it to us again. Okay, y'all see the numbers on the screen. Y'all see the stats. The 49ers did not score in 3 quarters of this game. Seattle's defense is insane. When you hold a so-called high-powered offense to no scores in 3 quarters of the game. Hey man, hats off to you. You did your thing. You did your thing. So in Wosu, Uchenna Nwosu, linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks, when Fred was talking about trying to come back, he told him, the season's already over, bro. I don't know what you're doing. Like basically in so many words, like, what you coming back for? You ain't gonna be able to make it back. Now, they had the opportunity to possibly play Fred in this game, but being cautious, which I would think so, was a smart thing. They didn't do that. Now, Fred is ready already, which is the cool thing. So he'll be there for OTAs, everything that we normally do. He's good. He's pretty much 100%. You know what I'm saying? And he was only fighting to get back the way he was because Fred Warner truthfully loves the game of football. He has that competitive drive, that fervor inside of him that will not die. So he loves the game of football, and that's what he wants to do. And I'm not mad at him for it. I really am not. There's nothing I can say that would be different. But when you come in and you take a look at it, it's crazy. Yeah, it was the worst playoff loss. Yeah. 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 You can't do nothing. Ricky P. Damn. Y'all cooking Ricky P, man. Damn, this is crazy. Hey, look, I'm not opposed to this by any stretch. I am not opposed to that. If you want to tell, if I was to call Minnesota and Minnesota told me, give me your first round pick and I'll give you Justin Jefferson, take it. I don't want it. I have a surefire #1 receiver that I can count on. Now, if Ricky Pearsall can magically somehow stay healthy, I'll take him as a solid #2. Or if we can draft a proper #2, I'll take Ricky Pearsall as a slot guy. I'm not mad at that. I can see him being a slot guy. That's okay. That's okay. But if you're telling me I got Justin Jefferson, oh, that's beautiful. Love to see Justin in red and gold. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it's just frustrating, man. Like you don't do anything, and it becomes trash. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, they will not do that. I don't think they will. So let's get into this game. Brock Purdy, 15 to 27, 140 yards, and an interception and 2 sacks. Now, you'll have 49er fans that would tell you, well, hey, man, the field was blanketed. They couldn't do anything. Couldn't do this. Yes, this is true. All true. They could not. Very frustrating. Like I said, Seahawks defense, second to none. Chef's kiss. They did a fantastic job. They blanketed that field. They didn't leave anything open. And even when it was open, the offensive line just couldn't block to save their life because Brock Purdy was always moving and shaking and running around. The only thing I'll say about this is there were times where I saw Brock Purdy hold the ball too long, and in that moment, you either need to get rid of it or run. But he would run at the last second. And if you're going to run as a quarterback, you need to do it early in the play and get those yards. Don't wait for things to close up and then say, oh, I'm going to run, and somebody's already on you. All they got to do is slap your leg, slap your ankle. So it kind of is what it is on that one. But then you go look at Sam Darnold. And this is what I'm saying. Brock Purdy threw the ball 27 times. Sam Darnold threw the ball 17 times. He was 12-17, 124 yards, one TD, no interceptions, and he was sacked twice. But what does that tell you? They didn't trust Sam Darnold because you only had the man throw the ball 17 damn times. What starting quarterback in an NFL franchise, on an NFL team in a playoff game throws the ball 17 times? It tells me you didn't want him seeing ghosts like he did last time when he was out there in Minnesota. You don't want to repeat that. So you tell him, hey, look, man, love you, like what you've done. But, yeah, we're not throwing the ball like that. We're going to run, okay? And what did they do? Now, mind you, our offense ran and threw the ball 27 times each. So literal 50-50. The only difference is while they went heavy on the run, it helped them win. We had a balanced game plan, that ain't working. So it sucks because what happens? You get Kenneth Walker, 19 carries, 116 yards, and 3 touchdowns. They barely even use that Charbonnet. 5 carries for 20 yards, and his longest run was 15. So Charbonnet wasn't really doing much of anything. And they wound up having to take him out for a little bit because I believe he got injured in the game. So if you take that 15-yard carry away, Charbonnet wasn't doing much of nothing anyway. Because then that's 4 carries for 5 yards. And Kenneth Walker single-handedly dismantled us in the run game. Those 3 TDs destroyed us. The opening drive, having that kick return for a touchdown, that's 4. And then the TD pass to JSN, that's 5. That's 5 touchdowns and several field goals. That is hard to overcome when your offense is giving you nothing in return. And the defense is just getting obliterated. They had 175 yards rushing. When you look at the receiving, Jackson Smith and Jigba had 3 catches for 19 yards and 1 TD. When have you ever seen JSN have a game like that? You don't. Because Jackson Smith I say that because I watched him. But this is pathetic. This man, we did what most teams can't do, but we didn't even really do it. Seahawks did it for us. That's the caveat here. We didn't have to shut down Sam Darnold because they shut him down. They didn't give him the opportunity to screw this game off. They knew better. And what happened? They won. But if you look at that, that's where things went off the rails. When you look at the receiving, Jake Tonjes, 5 catches, 59 yards. And then I think he went out with an injury and he never came back. You know what I'm saying? Cooper Kupp, 5 catches for 60 yards. This is probably the first time all season. No, I guarantee it's the first time all season that Cooper Kupp has led them in receiving in any way, shape, or form. It has always been Jackson Smith and Jigba. So then, of course, we had fumbles. 2 of them. Lost both of them. Juice. You know what I'm saying? These things can't happen. And these are the things that go down. You know what I mean? You take a look at the tackling. You know what I'm saying? D. Winters, Eric Kendricks, Mustafa. All these dudes were doing their thing. Mustafa had the sack, and then C.J. West got himself another one. I think C.J. West is developing into a great defensive tackle. He looks really good. I like what I'm seeing from him and Alfred Collins, but we just got to get some guys on the edge that can actually do the job. And right now, nobody can. Not a soul. So our edge rushers are nothing at the moment. You know what I'm saying? And then they had their sacks on Brock Purdy from DeMarcus Lawrence and Leonard Williams. 7 passes defense by them. Not one single pass defended by a 49er defender. Not one. And there were plenty of time to do it. So there was a touchdown pass, and I believe it was to JSN. And I believe it was Darrell Luter Jr. who gave up the touchdown pass. But I will tell you, because I remember this, because I was pissed to no end when I saw this happen. D. Winters is running at Sam Darnold. Darnold has nowhere to go. He cannot spin out of this. He can't juke him out of it. Darnold is he's more of a statue. He's not really a get up and run kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? He can. And if he needs to, he will. If he sees some green grass and he knows he can get a first down, he'll get out there and probably get there. But he's not going to do much. You know what I'm saying? He ain't Lamar or Michael Vick. Let's just put it like that. He ain't even Alex Smith. So Darnold is backpedaling. looking in the end zone to try to find somebody to throw the ball to. Deke Winters has a beeline for him. Winters runs straight at him with his hands down. Why would you not run at him like this with your hands up so you distort his vision so you possibly can block the ball? Why would you not do that? I always jokingly say this, but it's true. I always say when you can't get home, you got to bust the rhymes in. Put your hands where my eyes can see, straight buck wilding in the place to be. Just get your hands up. It's not that hard. These are simple things you are taught from Pop Warner all the way to the NFL. You can't get home, put your hand up. It could possibly distort the quarterback's vision, or you could tip the ball and give somebody on the back end a chance to intercept it or possibly knock it down. D. Winters did not do that. He just ran straight at him and let the man throw the ball. If I'm running at you and I know that you have no other option and I'm pretty sure I'm going to sack you, I'm going to run at you like this because I already know how to control my body. And I will literally go ahead and boom. Now, you don't have the vision to get it to JSN. And if you do get it to JSN, I have tipped the ball in some way where it's floating, it's fluttering in the air. So I give my defense a chance to make a play on it. Something, you got to do something, but you cannot run directly at a quarterback and still give them the option to make the play. That's not going to work. What's going on, throwback? I'll talk about that in a second. We on this game right now. But this is simple. You know what I mean? These are things that you have to take a look at. When it comes down to it, man, then Ernest Jones, he had his interception that Brock Purdy wound up throwing. And, these things happen, man. It's extremely unfortunate. Rashid Shaheed with the TD. Myers was 100% on all his kicks. You know what I'm saying? Eddie P was 100%. He's the only person on our team that scored. So all of these things come into play. But what I do want to show is I'm pretty sure there were some lopsided stats here as far as this goes. So we had 15 first downs. They had 19. Got us in that one. We were 6-12 on third down. They were 4-10. So we won that battle. But we were 0-3 for fourth down conversions, and that's what really murdered us. Kyle actually had the balls to go for it because it was a game where he knew he needed these first downs, but he just couldn't draw up the plays to get it done. It's like Seattle was literally in Kyle's head, and they knew what he was doing. And this is where I cannot bestow the moniker of offensive genius on you when you can't get a fourth down converted. And I know it's the players that converted, but you're the one giving them the play call. The play call to Juice where he possibly pitches it back to Cena, that was stupid. You knew they was going to eat that up. Why would you do that? That's a dumb play. You don't quarterback sneak it? Oh, well, and then after the game, the sneak just wasn't there. They wouldn't allow it. Did you try? Because it'd be nice if you could try. You know what I'm saying? That's all you got to do. Just try. You know what I'm saying? So it's just frustrating consistently where you see these things happening and it doesn't work out. And then you come in and you take a look at it, 236 yards, 281 yards. So they only literally had a little under 50 yards more than we did as far as total yardage and beat us by 35 points. That is insanity. That makes this hurt even more. You see what I'm saying? We had one drive more than they did. They literally had one less drive. They were averaging 5.4 yards a play. We averaged 3.9. And when you come and you take a look at it, time of possession wasn't that lopsided. 31 minutes to 28 minutes. What is that, 3-minute difference? It's not much. So when you take a look at everything and you look at this game as a whole, they really didn't do anything crazy just looking at it. But they did what they needed to do and they got in there. Kyle got sunned. McDonald now can literally talk as much trash as he wants to. I can say this. McDonald doesn't look like the type to talk trash. Just doesn't look like it's his MO. But what I can say is, if I am McDonald from Seattle, head coach, and I say, and I want to say anything to Kyle, you know what? I can. Because if I beat the Rams, I go to your house. If I win the Super Bowl, I did it in your house. Do you understand? Let me just explain something to you. As men, we got egos. Egos, bigger than the moon and the stars. The biggest way to sun someone is to win in their house. If I beat you in your house, I let you come to my house and I kick the shit out of you. And then I go back to your house to claim a Super Bowl. You can't tell me nothing. At this point, I own you. This ain't Levi Stadium. This is McDonald's Stadium without the golden arches. I run this. Don't you say anything to me. Calm down. You see what I'm saying? Like, you get that over the top on somebody, and that sucks. That is the most worthless thing you can do, and that hurts because you can say nothing. The last time I saw you, I beat the hell out of you 41-6. I'm sorry. What were you saying? Oh, okay. I didn't think you were saying anything. Exactly. So it's literally just straight up frustrating. You know what I'm saying? Seattle's defense is great, but this is just it's horrible. And this game hurts so much. And I'm sorry, I'm tired of it. While a good chunk of Niner fans are good with the, hey, we got to contend to get in, and let's just keep contending and be okay with it. And we're not worried about a Super Bowl. A Super Bowl will come. You've been waiting 9 years, and you do not have a Super Bowl ring. You got 2 attempts, and 2 unfortunate losses. I think this last year, honestly, you did everything you did with this ragtag bunch of guys. So you know what? Since you're that good, do it again. Go into the draft, go into free agency, and start making some moves. But do it again. Let's get that consistency that everybody talks about that you have, and let's make it happen. Because out of the 9 years that you've been here, you've only had 3 years of straight consistency. And that's just being honest. So let's see you do it again and see if it'll work. Because right now, it doesn't look like it's going to. You cannot go into next season and have high hopes for the season with a receiving core like this. That receiving core has to be better. You can't go in the next season with Ricky Pearsall and Jordan Watkins and be like, yeah, we're good. You can't go in the next season with the same offensive line and not make some upgrades. You've got to do something. You've got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So we lost this game. Hats off to the Seahawks. They came in, we went into their house. They beat the brakes off of us. 12s did their thing. You know what I'm saying? These are just things that I'm seeing that happen. But let me go back through these comments really quick and get to some of these because I know everybody was talking. He said, hey, man, look, I'm not going to knock nobody for doing commercials or anything. You got to get your money outside of football, too. You got to go get your paper. So I ain't mad when nobody does commercials, but I get the joke. It works. To be honest with you, so our draft class this past year, I will say Alfred Collins, CJ West, and Upton Stout have been the 3 dudes out of that draft class that have hit. I'll say they hit. Upton Stout can definitely be a great nickel, and I think the game will slow down for him. He'll be good. Alfred Collins, I know I was a little out on him because he was injured right in the beginning, and he didn't really play, but as the season has went on, he showed me something. CJ West showed me something. All of these guys showed me something, and I am not mad at it. I think those are the 3 guys out of our picks that hit. Michael Williams, I don't really know what to say about him because I didn't really see anything happen to him. He didn't really play. He only played a couple games, and in those games, he started to get pressure, but I don't think he ever even got home. I think if he had a sack, I think he might have been one. But I don't even think it was that. I think it was just. Let me just double check. I don't think he had a sack all year. I think he had more. I think he had a couple of pressures here and there, but he wasn't doing anything spectacular. Um, and that's but we don't really do good with first round picks as it is. So let me go. I keep taking it out of postseason because it always goes into that because that's where we just were. So Michael Williams. Okay. No, I take it back. He had 2 sacks. So he had 2 sacks, played nine games, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's what it said. No, sorry, he had 2 sacks in 3 games. So that's actually not bad. If you have 2 sacks in 3 games, you know what I'm saying? But he only played 3 games. Towards ACL, it is what it is. But let's see here. I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. Those are the guys. Renardo Green, I still got faith in the kid. He's got to get better with his coverage. You know what I'm saying? He got to tighten up. Garendo was a waste of pick because anytime we draft running backs, you all know how I feel about that. We waste our money. We waste our time. We waste it all because we don't do anything with the running backs whenever we draft them. If you don't believe me, look up the history of 49er running backs drafted while Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have been here, and you tell me one. I believe one. Give me one dude that actually worked out. And do not say Elijah Mitchell because Elijah Mitchell spent more time on the bench than he did on the field. That's all I'm saying. Pony's good, you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't let Green go because I do see a lot in him. He just has to be more disciplined. And that's his problem right now. He's a young kid, so the discipline is the issue right there. But we definitely gotta be better at the draft. Yeah, and this is the thing. He won. But you know what it was? I only scored 20 points. I just watched Seattle put up 41. That ain't gonna work. That means I got to be better. So that just tells you as a competitive head coach, he sees what it is. You know what I mean? Definitely, I like that. I like it too. Yeah, I mean, Hawks or Rams on our field is just going to be ugly. I wouldn't want to see them fools celebrating in our house at all. Truthfully, I would rather them do the ceremony. I'd rather them if the Rams win, go back to LA and celebrate that. And if the Seahawks win, go back up to Seattle and celebrate. Don't celebrate on our field. Now I know it's going to happen. There's no choice. It's inevitable. That's just kind of how it works. But for my own selfish reasons, of course, I want them celebrating on our field. Like this is if either one of those teams won, it is the ultimate slap in the face. And when you play whichever team that won on your field next year, they're going to talk trash. I know I would. I tell you right now, you couldn't have me as a Ram. You couldn't have me as a Seahawk. Because first of all, especially the Seahawks, because the first thing I could do is say, last time I was on this field, I held you to 3. Last time I was on this field, I won a Super Bowl. I got a ring. Oh, what were you doing? Oh, you were at home. Oh, it sucks. Hey, I remember right over there, that's where I pissed on your shit. I remember right over here where I celebrated and popped champagne. Oh, and over there, yeah, I took my wife up in the box and beat it down for a little bit just as a celebratory moment. Like you can say all of these crazy things. Of course, all those things are just BS, but men talk trash to each other, people. We do. We talk super shit. We don't care. We will continue to do it. You will have to take it because if we really got that one up on you and we got that dub, you already know it's coming and it will not stop until you change that. So we will hold that over your head consistently. Hell, you could even look and go, hey, man, we got to the Super Bowl and won. My head coach got it done. Yeah, coach, he doesn't seem to do that, does he? Seems to keep taking L's. Sucks. I know. But you're competitive every year. You've got this. You got the greatest offensive mind in football. but he can't get the job done? I don't know, people. I don't know. No, 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 absolute hell no. Let me explain why. Okay. Joey Bosa lives on the injury list. And currently, right now, unfortunately, Nick Bosa has only given us it has literally not played for 2 years. We have lost Nick Bosa for 2 years. His ACL injury twice. These things happen. It happens. Now, mind you, Nick Bosa is very quick with his recovery. He doesn't wind up taking a ridiculous amount of time to get back. Joey, on the other hand, he's injured more consistently, so he doesn't play. I don't want Joey Bosa on my team. Forget it. The dream of the Bosa brothers to me is stupid. Be honest with you, this is what I would really like the 49ers to do, because I'm off that Seattle game. It is what it is. They beat the shit out of us. We lost. We're out of the playoffs. We have to move on and start looking at the draft. We got to look at free agency. If you could give me two players, I think the 49ers could become instant contenders. They will still have to make upgrades to their offensive line because their offensive line is not very good. I hope they actually saw that and stop acting as if Jake Brendel is great and you know what I'm saying, if we're just, sitting there with all these random awesome players. We're not. What I will say is, if you could get Max Crosby to go opposite of Nick Bosa, if you could get to the Raiders and make sure that they're selling on him and find a way to work out the cheapest deal you can find, I would literally start like, hey man, look, I give you a 2 for Max. Start there. If you get Max Crosby and you get Justin Jefferson, you now have your defensive end opposite Nick Bosa that's going to wreck the game. You now have a true number one receiver. Now what you need to do is you could most likely do this, and I'm just going to say this, and some people may or may not like it. You could re-sign Jawan Jennings. Give him some money, and you could throw Ricky Pearsall on the slide. I'm not mad at a Justin Jefferson 1, Jennings 2, Pearsall slide 3. I'm not mad at that. I think that would be okay. I'm perfectly comfortable with it. No issues. Because I have a true number one who, for the most part, pretty much stays healthy all the time. I have another guy who's been here, who we already know, he can definitely be a 1,000-yard receiver as long as he keeps himself a cool head when he's on the field. And we've got a quick twitch slot guy. I'd look at Pearsall. If Pearsall plays the slot, I'd look at him more like a Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola type guy. You know what I'm saying? That quick twitch dude out the slot. You don't know where he's going. You don't know what he's doing, but he's doing it. And that's the key. So we have to look forward to that. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, hey, look, most of the people in this chat are done with Kyle. They really are, man. And that to me is what it is. Yeah. I'm telling you, it is what it is, bro. They let Salah come back and have the draft. They basically did, because our first 4 picks were that. Now, I do think that Nick Martin showed us a lot of promise, and I think that he's going to be a good defense, a good linebacker once they allow him on the field, because he's great at tackling. I'll give him that. Gray Zabel was the better pick. Okay. All right. I ain't mad at it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I'm not giving Renardo excuses in any way. I'm just stating that I think the kid still has potential. He's got to get it together. And this is true. Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that. You know what I'm saying? And we already know what it is. I know it's sad about, Bo Nix. That definitely hurts the Broncos. But what's going on, Jen? At the end of the day, that 16, 17 sack year guy to me, honestly, I think in our defense would be Max Crosby. I would rather have him than Trey Hendrickson. But I'll say this, man. We lost. We got to move on and move forward toward the draft and see what that's going to be about. I completely understand it. It may be a little frustrating, but at the end of the day, I think that the 49ers will undoubtedly have to figure out what's coming this year. This is to me, this coming year is a make or break year for Kyle Shanahan. You showed us you could do it without a bunch of pieces that you normally would have. Now, I need you to find the right pieces, make the right moves, do the right things. And next year, go get a Super Bowl. If you got this far with just these dudes, imagine what you could do if you and John sit down and figure out the next best steps for this team. Pull Jed in and say, hey, look, we got to figure out how we got to turn this team into a winner. Because right now, once again, like I said, I ain't seen no talks about Kyle Shanahan getting no extension. This is the final year of his contract. If you don't believe me, look it up on Spot Rack. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the case. Sean McDermott has been fired as the Bills head coach. But the one thing that I will say is the reason that I am the way I am when it comes to letting go of Kyle is because of time. You don't want to sit there and just wait and wait and wait and wait. And everybody's going to be like, well, if you get rid of him, you got to bring in someone better. You got to do this. You got to do that. And you know, who's going to keep us consistent? That's what you guys are worried about. Who's going to keep us consistent, not who's going to help us win the Super Bowl. That's where the disconnect for me and some Niner fans comes from. I'm tired of the complacency. I am no longer sitting here dealing with that. You've had 9 years to get the job done. You failed twice in those 9 years because you got to the big dance. It's time to move on. To who, I don't know. But at the end of the day, players are getting older. Coaches getting older. A lot of these coaches that got let go, I'll give y'all this before I get out of here. When you look at Mike Tomlin and you look at John Harbaugh, Harbaugh's automatically over there with the Giants. If you want Mike Tomlin, you're going to have to trade for him because he technically, I believe, has 2 years still left on his contract, so the Steelers own the rights to him. But if you look at it, what happened? Mike Tomlin, years upon years. After a while, the message gets old. It gets tired. You start realizing, hey, it's nice to have winning seasons, but when you're not doing anything in those winning seasons, what is it all for? Now, mind you, Mike Tomlin's very respected in that locker room for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They clapped, they cheered him on, standing ovation, all of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? With Harbaugh, Steve Bisciotti came out very, very openly. And they asked him, hey, had he won that playoff game, would he still be your head coach? He said, for another game. Why? Bisciotti knew that things had run their course. I got 1 Super Bowl out of you. And that was years ago with a quarterback that is literally a backup on anybody's team right now. Sitting in Cincinnati, being a backup. You see what I'm saying? So there are different situations, different things that come about. And you know what I'm saying? No, I don't. I don't currently have a head coach in mind that I could replace him with. I don't. But I guarantee you, at some point, I could do the research. I could, take a look at the landscape of head coaches that are out there that have the opportunity and try to find someone that's a little bit different. To be honest with you, I'm not going to lie. And I know people will laugh at me for this, but Mike McDaniels run the same kind of system. So if you brought Mike in and then he's familiar with the players, he's been here. Mike McDaniels would probably be not too bad of a replacement for him. I can't really fault Mike McDaniel for what happened down in Miami. Miami's a terrible organization. I'm sorry. Certain organizations are just garbage. Miami's one of them. The Jets is another one. Like these organizations, they just don't want to win. The Jets ain't been relevant since Mark Sanchez. Think about that. And the Dolphins ain't been relevant since Dan Marino. That's all I'm saying. Mike McDaniel would definitely be a good head coach because you keep the same thing. But this is the point. We need a leader of men. And that's what we have to do. So I would have to scale the landscape of coaches out there. Take even a look at the landscape of coaching in college football. But we've got to change the narrative. It cannot be a consistent theme of you don't have a better option than Kyle, so you have to stick with that. That's like being in a relationship going, well, I don't have a better option, so I'm just gonna hold on to the person I'm with. You don't know that until you get out there and go try. Until you go out there and say, hey, I found somebody new. Let's see where this goes. So whether it be somebody that's established, whether it be somebody that's not established, at the end of the day, moving forward from someone who is unfortunately very stagnant is not a bad thing. And that's the thing. So while I get what you're stating there, Courtney, I completely understand it. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of just sitting here every year and we ain't got nothing to show for it. 9 years of nothing. I'm sorry. It's nice to go to an NFC Championship game. It's nice to go to a Super Bowl, but it's nice to go to these things and actually win them, and actually have something to show for it at the end of the day. When you're just sitting there and it's been 9 years and there's nothing, you don't think you get tired? You don't think you get bothered? Because everybody does. So I get where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, I'd have to scale it. You know what I'm saying? No, this isn't. So let me explain this to you. It's not sour grapes because we lost to Seattle. This is me talking about over the whole time that Kyle has been here. I have been this way. I think this is the first time I've ever seen you on my channel. If you don't believe me, you can go back and look at my old videos. I am not the biggest Kyle Shanahan fan by any stretch of the imagination. There have been plenty of years where I have been extremely frustrated with what he's done. And you can see me each time we lost the Super Bowl. I lay into his ass. So my feelings have nothing to do with us losing to Seattle. This is just a cumulative total of all of the years that we haven't wound up winning, the Super Bowl. So that's not my thought process. It isn't. And I'm serious. If you don't believe me, go look back at my old videos, bro. I've done full videos where I chronicle Kyle Shanahan's whole career and tell you why certain things will and won't work and what did and didn't work throughout that time frame. But that's what I'm saying. Believe me, you know what I'm saying? That's me. I'm one of those people where if you want greatness, you got to go get it. You can't sit there and just wait on it. And if you want greatness, you must be better. You cannot just consistently do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what it is. Sala would be a head coach. He'd be a great head coach for us. He would, but they ain't offering him a job. Kyle's still sitting there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, it just we definitely would have loved to have won some more. Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. At the end of the day, when you're playing football, your only reason you play strictly is to win championships. That's the only reason you play. And if Kyle Shanahan is always being touted as an offensive genius and this guy that can scheme them up and he's the greatest head coach they ever lived, Ryan Clark said because of the job he did this year, he should have a lifetime contract. No. For you to do this 1 year, you had 9 years and you've only had 3 years of straight consistency in those 9 years. It's not every year that we're going to the playoffs. It's not every other year. You literally have had 3 straight years of consistency. That's all you've had since you've been here. And I mean, you have to think about it. The Bills just fired Sean McDermott, and that man, he just couldn't get past Patrick Mahomes. That was his biggest issue. Him and Josh Allen could not get past Patrick Mahomes. And Sean McDermott is 98-50. Kyle Shanahan is currently at where is he at? He's 82 and no, he's not 82 and 67. Hold on, let me go back. He's got more wins than that. Kyle Shanahan is 91 and 72. So you got McDermott here at 98 and 50. Shanahan at 91 and 72. I mean, I'm just saying. Exactly. See, a lot of Niner fans judge Shanahan in the moment. They don't look at his totality. They look in the moment. I look at everything because at the end of the year, that's all I can do. I'm not going to judge you off of this 1 year now because we've had other years where we haven't been the best and he couldn't put it together. When Jimmy tore his ACL, we didn't go to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many things that come into play. It's a cumulative total. That's all I'm saying. You know, and that's what it is. You know. Yeah, and you're proving my point here. Exactly. See, the biggest thing for me was this year I don't have him in my way. If I get to the Super Bowl, I know at a bare minimum that is the one guy I am not worried about. Why? He doesn't exist. And see, this coming year for 2027, I can tell you right now, this will be possibly another year where Mahomes is not in your way. Because contrary to what people believe and think, Patrick Mahomes ain't going to be ready for game 1 of the season after tearing his damn ACL. Okay? Nobody will be, especially not a quarterback. When you tear your ACL, that you have to that it takes time. Your body has to build back up to what it used to be. So there's no way he's going to be ready for the beginning of the season. I say you see Patrick Mahomes probably about week 4, week 6, max. That's the earliest you're going to see him. But game 1, nah, not going to happen. You know, so Shanahan's credit, they had 5 straight winning seasons. No, they did not. You're incorrect. He has not had 5 straight winning seasons since 2020. I told you he's only had 3 straight years of consistency as far as winning. If you don't believe me, I'll pull back up his information and show you. He does not have 5 straight years of consistency. That is incorrect, unfortunately, on that one. So I'll just show it to you because I just want to make sure you can see it. Give me 1 second. There we go. So this is Kyle Shanahan's record. So when you look at it, as I stated, from 2021 to 2023 are his years of consistency. That's 3 straight years. That's it. Everything else is up and down. You start to look at the first couple of seasons, they were losing seasons. Then he won. COVID year was just horrendous. Then 21, 22, and 23, all consistency. 24, you go 6-11. And then here, now you're there. I just wanted to make sure you saw that so you understood it because I don't want you to be like everybody else and giving that man credit for something he ain't done. You know what I mean? But, yeah. I don't know what the issue is with the brass, but at the end of the day, I need the Yorks to zero in on this franchise and start demanding some things happen. Start looking around. Hey, man, look, we old at this position. Why are we so old at this position? We need some young blood in here. Like, start honing in on what it was. And the reason that I state that is because Eddie DeBartolo is literally the sole reason that a salary cap exists in football, period. He is the one because he was going out there throwing money at everybody and winning. And people started getting mad about it. It's just like the Dodgers. Everybody's mad right now because the Dodgers got bread and they're spending money. Why are you mad? They got the money. It is what it is. They spend the money. They go win World Series. It is what it is. Yankees have money. Y'all go out and spend money. Go get it. Try to go and get back. I don't know. But the issue is when Eddie DeBartolo stepped away from the Niners, that's when things just went on the downward trend. Eddie had an idea of, I want to win. He had that nature, that competitive fervor, that drive inside of him to say, I'm going to drop my nuts and I'm going after these Super Bowls. And that's what you better do when you're playing these games. When you get into these NFC Championship games and you get to that big dance, I don't need to see a loss. I need to see a win. The Yorks don't have that. It's not inside of them. I don't know why, but they are simply comfortable with losing Super Bowls. We've lost 3 under Jed York's watch. Ain't won 1. I think the only time I've ever seen Jed York say anything that was pretty ballsy was, I'm the owner, you can't fire me. That's about it. Other than that, he just sat back and let things happen. In the beginning, when Lynch and Shanahan first got here, you kind of heard things from him. You heard him say things here and there. You heard about him at the owners' meetings, all these things. Now, quiet as a mouse. You hear nothing. It's like they don't even focus on what we need to do to get better. Eddie D was that person where he did all of that. He was there. He was with Carmen Policy and with Bill Walsh and with, I'm saying, all these guys and making decisions and saying, hey, how can we get better? What can we do? What do we need to do? How do we, find this angle, that angle, whatever the case may be. Eddie was doing it and he was there. He was involved and he wanted to win. I don't think the Yorks have that type of idea or drive. And I would love for them to prove me wrong, but right now they're proving me right because they have done nothing and said nothing. None of them, including Jed, who's usually the face, the one that speaks the most. They've done none of that. They've just been, I think what happens sometimes as well is when you have a franchise that's storied and historic like this, the fans will be there. Jerry Jones knows for a flat out fact, Cowboy fans are going to be delusional for the rest of their life. They're going to continue to go every year is their year. And they're going to buy the merch. And they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And the money's going to keep flowing. I think that's what happened with Jed York. I think York is basically saying, hey, man, I ain't tripping. Money coming in, ass is still in seats. If I keep the consistency, the fans will continually show up. They will continually buy into the fact that, we've got a chance, and they'll continually buy the merch and line my pockets. Even if I don't get them a Super Bowl, what makes the difference? Now, if fans band together and they said, look, man, we ain't buying no more merch. We ain't going to none of these games until you figure out how to get us a Super Bowl win in here. We're getting really tired of this. If you saw that hurt, if you saw a stadium like Miami where there's nobody there, bro, or like games like for the Oakland A's or for the Florida Marlins where just literally the stadium was empty, the team was that shit that they just were like, why go to the game? You couldn't give those tickets away. So for me, it's a situation of knowing and understanding that I need my owners to get on board and start talking to these people, making things happen. And I need the people in the building to get it right. It's extremely frustrating. But we took that L, man. Seattle won. Hats off to them. They beat the brakes off of us. It is what it is. We got to move forward. But does Kyle Shanahan deserve Coach of the Year for what he did with what we had? Yes. Would I say that he deserves an extension? No. I am done with the complacency. I'm done with just being competitive and never getting the job done. And for all those Niner fans, I know that they're out there that are going to watch this and they're going to malign me and talk trash in the comments and all that stuff. You have at it. You have fun. But if you can't take a step back and go 10 years of the same thing is not good without any movement, without any change, without a Lombardi trophy in your hand, and you had the opportunity to do it twice and you lost to the same dude. Steve Spagnuolo owns you twice in the biggest game of your career. I'm just saying, bro, you got to question that. You can't just say because he's consistent, let's keep him. That's not good enough. Consistency in the beginning would warrant you keeping your job. But after 9 years, when you have other coaches who have done it in shorter spans of time, and you can't even get the job done, and they ain't even been to the Super Bowl as many times as you have, question marks, people. You got to start thinking beyond this stuff. You can't just let this be, you can't let him having 3 years of consistency and then going up and down all the other years. You can't let that be what it is, because at this point now, what that means to me is if I'm looking at it, then let me just take a look at it one more time because I want to make sure I'm clear in my statement, and then I'm going to get up out of here. So basically, you have 2 years of inconsistency, then you go to the Super Bowl.
You have a year of inconsistency. Then you go to the playoffs 3 straight times. You have another year of inconsistency. So this would lead me to believe that he did it in 2025. So 2026 should be another year of consistency, just based off of the track record of what's been happening. Because you're 2 years where you suck, then you go to the bowl. Then you have another year where you suck, then you have 3 years of consistency. So we didn't, unfortunately, have the 2 years of inconsistency with him in that moment. After that 3 years, we basically just had one, and then we went ahead and figured it out to an extent. But at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. You've got to figure out what you're going to do next. You've got to see exactly what it is. And that's all we can do, man. Team is worth $8.6 billion. Yep. I'm just saying, bro. Look, all these things, man. I'm just saying. These are all things that are there, but we'll see what happens. We'll come back. We'll take a look at it. Start talking about the draft. We'll take a look at our needs, what we do need, what we don't need. Take a look at the free agents that we have. See if any of these guys are worth signing, and kind of go from there. But thank everybody for tuning in. Courtney, I appreciate you for coming in and hanging out with us. Definitely like and subscribe to the channel. I welcome all rival fans in my channel. I don't mind the back and forth banter. You talk a little trash in the comments, as long as it's in good taste, it's all good. Say what you want, because it's cool, man. I don't, the banter doesn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you get disrespectful or personal, of course, I'm that guy. I will kick you out. I don't condone that. But at the end of the day, man, we just got to look forward to next year and see what happens. I don't get my hopes up with this team anymore, because I know Kyle's at the helm, and I don't really know what's going to happen. I'm probably going to start trying to make it more consistent when I go live. I'm actually very random at the moment. I just kind of go live whenever I feel like it, when I want to talk. But for me, most of the time, it's always Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. at a bare minimum. Me and Brandon from the Forever Faithful podcast, along with 49er Media, and every now and then we get Lefty to come on too when he has time. But for the most part, it's Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. But I am going to start just pegging Wednesday mornings to be my day. And it'll probably be around 9 a.m., 8, 9 a.m., just because I want to let people get up, you know what I'm saying, doing different things. And I appreciate that, man. I really do. Thank you so much for the compliment. I do this because I love it. This is not my full-time job. If my channel were to grow to that point, I would definitely do it, because there's a lot more things that I would talk about besides football. But right now, keeping the sports, just because it makes more sense. If I do want to veer off into other conversations and talk about other things, I would do that probably on a new channel. I'd have to create something different, because I wouldn't want to, you don't muddy the waters with the audience that you currently have, because it's sports. And then if you go into other things, you kind of throw people off a little bit, because then they're looking like, wait, why are you talking about sports when they're talking about this? So for right now, strictly sports. It'll probably branch out. But thank you so much for that compliment. Everybody stay up, stay faithful, stay blessed. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell another friend, man. Just trying to get this up to that 700 mark. You know what I'm saying? Got through to that 600, and just trying to hit that 7 and, keep going up, man. Don't want to plateau. Don't want to stop. Want to make sure everything keeps going. But thank all of y'all for tuning in and hanging out with your boy. Peace.